We wanted to create a fun, non-judgmental space where women can talk about their shared experiences.
Here, we will normalize the challenges we face as females living in a society that dictates unrealistic and outdated expectations on what a woman should be.
Together, we hope to cultivate a supportive community of women who empower one another to courageously live unapologetically.
A quick disclaimer before we get started. Although Cindy and Danielle are licensed therapists, this podcast is not to be interpreted as therapy or a replacement of therapeutic services. It is strictly a conversation between two women about their experiences in the world today. If you liked today's episode, please make sure to like and subscribe below. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at Unapologetically Females. With that being said, we hope you enjoyed this next episode.
All right, we are back for another episode, and today we have an amazing guest. She's famous.
Infamous.
Infamous? She's famous and infamous. She's an incredible woman, and this is our lovely friend, Miss Alice Heap, and she is here today on the podcast to talk to us about a topic that I feel like isn't always comfortable to talk about.
Right. Should I read the question?
Oh, yeah, we can lean into that.
Because actually this topic was brought to us by one of our listeners, and it is, I'm going to read it directly because it was so well phrased and then also with a lot of vulnerability. I am an empty nester and currently taking care of my 90-plus-year-old parents. It's a struggle. What advice can you give me to ease the pain that I'm feeling? And so now you can say why we thought of Alice.
Yeah. So thank you to whomever shared that.
Yes, thank you.
With us, because it's a hard question. It's a hard topic to tackle. And over the years, as I've gotten to know Alice, she has shared some of her experiences with me. And so you came to mind immediately when we read this topic. And I'm like, you would have such a great perspective on this, because it's been a learning curve for sure as you've navigated all of this.
For sure. And I would say that nobody's situation is the same as the next person's situation, that they're all so different. Mm-hmm. The advice out there is generalities, basically. Mm-hmm. But to answer her question, what can she do to ease the pain a little bit, to know she's not alone, that there's so many people out there experiencing the same thing, and just to know that there's help, there's podcasts, there's books, there's best friends, there's relatives, and seek out that help whenever you can, and don't go it alone.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So let's start. How old is your mom?
So my mom is 88.
Okay.
And she's showing signs of dementia, but she's still very functional in her home. She has her own home now, and lives alone, and has a little dog that keeps her company. Is kind of her best friend. Mm-hmm. And as long as she can make sure she locks the door and be safe. And she can still, feed herself. She doesn't cook, but she uses the microwave for most everything. Okay. And so as long as she can do that, I think she's doing great, just being home. So I handle all of her business. I pay all her bills. She doesn't care to be involved in any of that aspect, and so
same.
She gives,
right? Can you pay my bills?
Yeah, right. So that gives me. And so my dad set things up very nicely for her. So she really has no worries in that arena. But so I just kind of feel like having her keep her independence as long as she can. Yeah. And there's, we only live 8 houses away from one another, so that's really nice now. And it took a while to get to this place where we're nice neighbors instead of hostile roommates.
Very fair.
But yeah, so she needs her space, and she doesn't want anybody else in her space, and we were looking to be in her space because we thought it was time for us to all be together and help each other out. Basically, that's what my husband and I wanted to do. So
when did things start to transition for you? So when did, where you were like, okay, this is where we need to step in, or where, it's time for us to help,
Right.
what was that
Good question.
switching point
Good
for
question. So I'm the firstborn and always the responsible one in the family. I have a younger brother who's like fun, and he's a fun kind of guy.
you? You're a fun kind of gal.
Well, that's all forced on me. But-
Alice is a good time. Don't let her fool you.
I'm learning.
She's so much like I want to hang out with her often. Like she's a good time. I can't keep up with her.
I'm so shy and
Go!
so conservative. But anyway, so it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. I was looking at my dad's prescriptions, and I saw one. I thought, I didn't recognize it because I knew he had heart meds and he had all kinds of other high blood pressure meds and stuff. And I saw this thing, and I'm like, what is this? So I looked it up, and it said for Alzheimer's. And I said, Mom, Daddy has Alzheimer's? And she said, I don't know. And I thought, oh man, if she doesn't remember it,
Right.
'cause surely she would have gone to the doctors with him and stuff. But so there's something on the decline in there. And we'd been talking maybe 2 years earlier of, hey, let's sell our homes and move in together and then just take care of one another. And so take care of each other, all
That's a
four of
beautiful
us.
way to put it.
And-
No, really, it is
Yeah.
because,
It just, and we've been really good friends for many, many years. And so she said, no, I'm not ready to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, you let me know when. And so it might have been a year after discovering my dad had Alzheimer's. And really, he was very functioning, not high functioning, but I could tell he was retreating. His personality was, he was getting very quiet, really wasn't doing much physically. So I said, Mom, we can always move in together. And she said, okay.
oh, okay.
So I was really encouraged by that. And I
Yeah.
thought, this is going to be so fun. It's going to be great. We sold our homes lickety-split. They both sold. And then we went out looking for a house. And she wanted her own bedroom with her own restroom, and my dad to have his own as well. And I thought, okay, we'll get you what you want. So we bought this big, beautiful home in Santan Valley, and Brandy and I both retired a little bit early, but we retired because we thought, okay, we're going to take care of Dad. And then 30 days later, my dad's Alzheimer's, his body was starting to decline, and he went to be with the Lord.
30
Wow,
days?
30 days. We weren't there but a month.
Oh,
I didn't realize it was that quick.
Yeah.
How old was your dad when he passed?
He was 87.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you notice that in those 30 days, or even in the 30 days preceding, moving in, like, was there a drastic shift in his health, or did it just happen really quickly, or how was that decline?
So he went from the year prior to us moving in, there were several bouts, I would say 4 bouts of him falling. And it could be in the middle of the night, it could be in the middle of the day, but Mom couldn't help him, and so she would call us to come get him. And one time she even just called 911.
Sure.
And then they would take him to the hospital, and then we would, deal with that then. But he was just very unstable on his feet, and the house wasn't set up for, the rugs were there, area rugs and stuff and like that, and that made life a little bit more difficult because you start shuffling when you have
Right.
Alzheimer's, and you're just a lot of imbalances. So I saw the decline with respiratory. So
Okay.
there comes a time when you swallow food and it goes into the lungs instead of down the esophagus,
Okay.
right? So then you would start getting bacteria growth, and it would turn into pneumonia.
wow, okay.
Right, so that's very common.
Okay.
And so that's what happened, and he just started to go down like in days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he passes after 30 days. You guys moved in together, and so what was your relationship like then? How did that kind of change? Because I imagine that shifts the dynamics of the household. One person's no longer there. The intention of, dad's
Yeah.
declining, so we're going to move in together, we're going to help you, and now dad's gone. So how did that shift things?
So it happened the day we moved in. So I
my
think
goodness.
the dynamics were two women living under the same roof who really had control of their homes,
Okay.
right? And so and I can be the pushover any time, especially when it comes to your parents and stuff, and just doing what they prefer, And Randy and I've always been that way with them, just like, okay, that's cool. I don't care. You don't like this piece of furniture? That's okay. I'll sell it. That, and it kind of started with that,
Oh, okay.
the preferences in the home, what she wanted to make it her home, and it just wasn't working out. I mean, there's details that I really don't want to go into with that, but we just found ourselves in a clash, and it was a hostile home.
Okay.
It was not pleasant to be around. There was no tranquility, and they say your home is your castle. There was no castle for any of us, and I refused to be party to any kind of confrontation. So I walk away, and her demeanor had changed.
Sure.
She was going to be the stronghold, and I guess I don't blame her for that, but it put a tremendous amount of stress on our relationship, and especially with Randy in the house. And he was my husband. If you've met him, he's the sweetest, kindest man, so gentle, and he would never mean any harm on anybody, right? So, and there was harm. So then I was like, oh wow, I'm trying to get along with my mom and do for my mom and please my mom, and meantime my relationship with my husband is suffering, and that's not good. And so then at that point, we're like, she threatened to leave. I want to sell the house. Well, you just bought a house, right? And you sunk a whole lot of money into it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you want to sell it, and after being there 30 days, 60 days, and that's crazy to want to do.
Sure.
And then the economy's declining, so it took a long time to sell that home, but she wanted to. She was just
Determined.
I'm going to do this one way or another. I want out. So it was really hard. So we decided to buy her a home. I go, where do you want to live, Mom? She said, I want to go back to Sunbird. And okay, let's go back there. And so we took out a loan and just bought her that home. And so we were paying on that loan while we were trying to sell our home.
Wow.
And so finally it
stress.
sold, I think it took 11 months to sell. And so then we decided, let's try and live as close as we can to her. So we're in the same community with her, and we're only 8 doors down. That calmed. The moment she left, it was like everyone's calm again. I mean, I had cortisol levels that were out the roof. And it was just, it was finally a peaceful home for us, and we can finally now work on our relationship and get it back where it should have been.
Yeah.
I can imagine that's really common, to be hard on a marriage and a relationship, because it's a whole new dynamic, right? Where you're now in charge of your aging parents, and you've taken on this role almost as the parent of your parents, and that's not really what we sign up for when we get married.
I know. I'm telling you, it is all consuming.
Yeah.
It is. If you allow it to affect your health, it will affect your health in a big way. If you allow it to affect your marriage, that will be the one that suffers the most, and probably irreparable sometimes. But your health is very important, and if you don't keep track of that and in tune to that, then you really will suffer long-term consequences from that. You can.
Mental and physical. Yeah. Health. Yeah.
For sure. But it is all-consuming, and you have to set up those boundaries that say, okay, what is it that she needs, and what is it that I can do and still have my life?
Sure.
And so that's what you need to really determine.
Yep.
first and foremost. And it's okay to seek outside help. I had to go to counseling just get validation on am I approaching this, or a shout out if like, hey, that's wrong, Alice. You need to back away from that and live your life as best as you can, because you can't be good to anybody, if you're run down in those areas. True. And so,
true.
How has becoming the caregiver and going through this experience and all of the things and emotions that come with, your dad having Alzheimer's and then quickly passing, and then your mom needing help, but maybe not being as accepting of the help perhaps. Emotionally, how has that been on you, and how have you navigated the shift of being the child? I mean, you're still the child, but that shift of caring for your caregiver.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing you have to realize is that, when a spouse dies, that there's a lot of grieving that has to take place on the other spouse, the surviving spouse. The grieving, and you have to understand, maybe put the shoes on that they're wearing to understand maybe what they're going through, and especially compounded by, older age and maybe less and less abilities. The older we get, the older I get, I find the limitations in my life in different corners, right?
Sure.
And so, she being 21 years older than me, I can imagine that grows. And you're like no longer as confident as you used to be, though you may have had that character that said, I'm a strong woman, right? But the older you get, the less confident that you become. And I feel that even at 65. So that was hard.
I feel like that could be a whole nother podcast.
Right?
Come back, Alice.
Right?
And so,
she's full of wisdom, you guys.
Oh, no, my goodness. It's just a hardcore training life. And so without her knowing it or realizing it, it's a relationship as her once being my caregiver and now me being a caregiver. And that's very a light role for me because she's still so very independent.
Sure.
So you have to go around it at the back door. You know what I'm saying? Sure. You're not supposed to be, you wouldn't say, well, I'm in charge of this and that, Mom, and I think this is. You need to still approach with a lot of respect and a lot of love and kind words still. And we still haven't approached the whole driving thing.
Oh gosh,
right?
I can't
She's
imagine.
88 and she drives 1 mile this way or 1 mile that way, and she knows her limits because she won't go outside of that.
Okay, that's good.
Which, I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Now, would I be happier if she didn't drive? Probably.
Sure. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I get it from a lot of friends. Well, what about if something happens and never mind what could happen to your mom, but what could happen to somebody else on the road, right? And so that fills me with like lots of guilt. But when I know that she won't go outside of that realm, I'm a little bit better about it. But so I won't go in a car with her. And everything I do, I drive.
Yeah.
And we have a really good, we're at a good place right now.
Good. What have you needed to do as far as for your own emotional safety, stability? What have you needed to do? What types of boundaries have you needed to put in place? And to not feel selfish about it too. Like, how have you kind of navigated those complicated feelings?
Right. That's being able to say no with a caveat that says, it's no right now, but how about tomorrow, or how about another alternative? So you if she has a need, and she has a lot of needs.
Does she? Okay.
She goes through handyman like crazy. She's gone through 3 dentists.
She knows what
like
she
crazy.
likes and she knows what she doesn't
Right,
like.
and by golly, I'm 88 years old. If I don't want to go to that dentist, I'm not going. And she'll leave the chair, at the dentist with the bed still on, right? Mom, you're cracking me up.
Oh my God.
Because I just know if I don't want to do it, I'm not. I'm like, of course. And even like tests like they want to do in the doctor's office to measure your, your cognitive abilities.
Yeah.
If I don't feel comfortable taking that test, I'm going to walk right out. And sure enough, she did, right? So nobody's been able to ever measure her because she's a walker. And I call her that. I go, we got to run her here, Mom.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so I tease her.
You have to laugh at
You do.
Yeah.
And that's our relationship. So she can laugh about stuff that is crazy, like even most serious stuff, and she'll laugh, and I'm like, okay, she just made it light, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So where I'm a serious kind of person, and she'll turn it into something funny, and I appreciate that about her, but that's been her character too.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just hear so much patience from you as you tell this story. Like, must just take so much checking in with yourself and how do I want to respond. And, in counseling we talk about working from an emotion mind versus a wise mind. And you sound like you're so capable at looking at it from a positive perspective. Where does that come from, and how do you do that?
That comes from my faith.
Okay.
There's no other way of explaining that, because, and I'm no saint, because I have a good sounding board. I have lots of good sounding boards. I have 2 very dear friends that I'll be the first one to post, she just said this, can you believe it? And I'm like, that's just a rhetorical statement. You don't have to respond or anything. I just need to vent. And they allow me to do that. And then I just take a deep breath and say, Lord, how do you want me to handle this? And so my faith has been the stronghold through this whole thing. Yeah.
That's such a great message, whether we're strong in faith or spirituality or whatever our support system looks like in that way, reaching out to a greater
Something else,
answer.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Before your parents started to age, or I guess we're always aging, but get to a place where help was, needed or more support was needed, were there ever conversations about future wishes, about plans, finances, and if we were talking earlier about passwords and just things like that, was any of that in place? Did you guys have those conversations?
Well, I think it was about 8 years ago that they asked me to take over all their finances.
Oh, okay.
So I did all that. I just paid their bills, and whatever they needed, and I just made sure they were never past due on anything.
Sure.
So then the other conversation was, here's how I want to die. And, they wanted to be cremated. Okay, great. Okay, let's do a will. They never wanted to do a trust. And what did they say? Oh, yes, they did do a living will. So they said, we don't want to live without life. We want good life. We don't want to linger on or anything.
Sure.
So they've always made that very clear. And so my mom will say right now, she's unhappy with her life, because I think she's more than anything lonely.
Of course.
More than anything, her loneliness haunts her all the time. But she doesn't go and seek friendships, right? And that's hard to do. And I think that's one of those things where you're like, lose that confidence later on in life, and try to make a new friend. And so that's the hard part right now, is trying to get her to reach out. And we live in a place where there's activities galore,
right?
But she doesn't want to be part of any of that. And I think that's probably part of that, lack of confidence of going out there and being.
You almost go back to an adolescent state, right?
Yes.
Of like back to those junior high days in a way, or like second guessing your own self.
Oh, that's so true.
Esteem.
That's so true, because some of the mentality, some of her train of thoughts take me back to when I was a kid, and like going, ooh, that would have been something I would have said when I was 12, right? Instead of being a mature, older, wiser woman to say words of wisdom, I'm like going, wow, that's a little catty, but but okay. So yeah, you're right.
Interesting.
Through all of this experience for you, what have you learned? Like, has it shifted your perspective on, I hate to say like end of life care, but really like that caregiving piece of of as you and Randy continue to age, like, did it force you guys to have more conversations about what that looks like, or, you know, or even with you have, you know, with one child, like is having those conversations, like,
Right.
what wisdom have you gained from this experience and put into practice or thinking about, you know, as you move forward?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's always in the back of our minds,
Yeah.
whether we've done it or not. We've probably outlined it, because I can take a piece of paper and take Randy's thoughts and my thoughts, and we'll say, okay, let's do this. But have we moved, you know, one step further on that? No. But that is ultimately, you know, the most important thing that you can do is let your loved ones, those who are next in line, those who are closest to you, let them know what your wishes are, from, you know, death to even going through some of your personal things, saying, this is who I want to have, this is where I'd like you to do this,
Right.
and that sort of stuff. Even those little minute details. I know that I would like to still do that with her, and I think she would be okay with doing that, because I think she's so ready to go.
Yeah.
That she would, it would probably give her satisfaction and very much calmness to
Right.
know that, okay, she's going to
Everything's
take
in
care
order.
of that.
Yeah.
So I think that now, any age, and when you're at a point where you are starting a family, or you have a family, that's always a good time
Yeah.
to start something like that. Start documenting these things for yourself, so your children know. You never know when things might happen. But yeah, I think that's a good time, anytime, and it can always be revised. But if you have something, there's your baseline at least.
Right.
Sure.
So you had mentioned you have a sibling, a brother. I also have a brother, and you have a sister.
I have a sister. Yes.
And navigating, that's something that I'm curious how that works, or what you guys have set up as far as shared responsibility. Because I mean, it sometimes it can be, it's a lot, you know, to take on yourself. I remember when my grandparents started aging, they had, I want to say it was like caregivers were at the house Monday through Friday, 24/7, but then all of the siblings and their spouses, so there were 4 of them, so once a month each couple took one weekend out of the month staying with their parents. And so I think about, like, you know, that when my mom's parents were aging and they were going through all of it, and then as things progressed, and kind of how that shared decision making, and not everybody was necessarily always on the same page. And so what does that look like in your life and with your sibling?
Wow, I have a great brother who's very supportive. He's one of my sounding boards. He's in California, so lucky for him.
That's convenient.
So we've just decided that he knows I know her the best, and I know what her needs are the best. And he's like, whatever you need, I will support you no matter what you need to do. Luckily for me, there haven't been any real issues that are like life-changing, like, you know, just getting in her home.
Sure.
That's not a life change. I mean, that, you know, assisted living would be a life change for her. But he's always going to be supportive. We've at least talked about that. As far as detail and what he can help me out with, being a sounding board is amazing, and it's enough right now. Just to be able to talk to one another, knowing that we have each other's backs, because when you get older, sometimes you have a tendency to throw your kids under the bus in different discussions, and just being honest with one another about, hey, and not tattletaling, but just, you know, just letting them know that I love you, I've got your back, and you know, we're in this together.
Yeah.
I think if it came to him, if things got worse, I don't think he'd ever move here, but he would definitely help to seek out, you know, assistance if she needed people to come in. I mean, anything I need help with, he would do. But like I said, this is all consuming to me.
Yeah.
So I kind of take care, and I have the ability, because I don't work, but the ability to like do those reference checks and, you call and see about this kind of a service and that kind of
Yeah.
a service for her and stuff. So
Do you
but
go
yeah.
to doctor's appointments with her?
I do.
Okay.
And I always have a sticky note ready to hand to the doctor. And I know it's always going to backfire on me because that's my luck.
Oh my goodness.
And I always hold it back, like, this is what she's doing. And I'm like, gosh.
So you never give it,
I never give it.
but you always prepare
I
it.
always prepare it. Yeah.
Really
What
have.
makes you not give it?
Yeah. She's a runner.
Just that I would come across as a traitor in her eye.
That's what I thought you might say.
And
yeah.
just like she would not love me anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's a big scare for children of aging parents like that.
Which, no matter what age you are, you're still always the child.
Always.
Right.
Right? So you always have that childlike
Right.
fear of
14 years old.
Yes.
That's what I'm always, I feel like she treats me like I'm 14 and we need to be equals at this point, but we're not. We're never going to be equals. We
Yeah.
never have been.
Right.
So, and it would be something that I would expect. We're equals, you're my friend.
And I'm trying
And my
to
mom.
watch out for your best interest and take care of you, yet I still am
Right.
afraid that
Right.
if I do this, you might take your love away from me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the scary part
That's
for me.
powerful.
Or that family members, because she has some close nieces, would think that I'm a very poor decision maker for her. So I'm in the back of my mind, I'm always weighing that. And I know I shouldn't. I need to do what's right. Anything that's major, like if we had to approach the driving issue,
Sure.
my brother would come out.
Okay.
And we would do it together.
Okay.
That we have decided on, because
Yeah.
it would be,
Yeah.
I have to live here, and if it was me doing that, then that would be hard to continue living, and because it would be a hostile environment.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I would be resentful if somebody told me I couldn't drive
Right.
no matter what. That's
Yeah.
taking away your control
Oh,
and
yeah.
sending a
It's
message
huge.
of
Huge piece of
Yeah.
independence there. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, like, I could imagine that's probably so relatable, though. I mean, it absolutely is so relatable, for people out there that I think we've talked a few times now about roles have, changing and the parents becoming more like the child. And now, you're
But you're still the child.
but you're still the child. And like, that's so complicated, those emotions, and then
Yeah.
still seeking your parents' approval.
Right.
Still seeking your parents' approval and afraid of am I going to disappoint them?
Right.
Am I living up to their that's
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
How do you take care of yourself?
Oh, wow. You don't. I do a lousy job of taking care of myself. So, and I always have. I always have been that way. I don't know why. That's just the way I'm built, I guess. And so I have a husband who says, you need to take care of yourself.
Good, yeah.
You need, let's get on. Well, and anything I do, he'll do with me, whether it's a diet or whether it's a workout plan or whatever. And so I love that about him. But I don't take very good care of myself. He'd be the first one to say that. I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try, but I don't get good sleep. Cortisol still. I'm on the, what do they call that? Fight
Fight or flight.
or flight
Yes.
mentality sometimes, because there'll be some one-liner zings that will come my way from her that I'm just struck, frozen
Your
in my
nervous system gets activated
Right,
and you
and I'm
immediately,
like-
yeah.
And I've been trained all my life, right? You never talk back to your parents.
Right.
I'm just that generation where you don't. And like never.
We should have had you on our gentle parenting episode.
Yeah.
But that's not healthy either.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to be able to
Yeah.
have a conversation.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
without it being hostile or without either party being afraid to say something, and then teach them to say it lovingly.
Right. It's that both and. Like, you need to respect your parent, and you can also use your own voice to say what
Right.
your needs are.
So when I talk to her, it's in this tone,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whatever, if it's a serious conversation, I'll be gentle in my voice and try to deliver it as gently as I can, because I couldn't do it any other way.
Right.
But I see other relationships with, parents and children that are very, very dominating on one side, and I'm like, I'm not sure that I could ever get that way, and it's just my make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just who I am.
Then there's me, a bulldozer. No.
Well, once a bulldozer, always a bulldozer, right?
Yeah, it's true. I'm thinking about as, my time will come, and between my brother and I and how that will look. And
But your brother will probably appreciate that about you,
Yeah, I mean, he will defer to me. It will happen.
Yeah.
But even in how things will, with my parents and caring for no, you're going to do this. That's not good for you.
Oh, wow. Okay, so in fact, I could not do that. But I so love that you can do that, and you're respected. Are you firstborn too?
I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not. We've talked about this, Cindy and I, often, but it's weird because I have so many, I would say, firstborn traits. I just think it's the dynamic between my brother and I, and so I think I've always been his protector. I mean, he's always cared for me and watched out for me too, but like I've just always, been more, I don't know if I want to say the word dominant, but just outspoken, verbal, direct,
Right, yeah.
clear.
Okay.
You rose up to that role.
I love it. And you?
I'm second
You're
born.
second,
Yeah,
okay.
also, but I'm definitely a typical second born. So, yeah. And also a people pleaser like you.
Yep, that's it.
Well, I think you're doing an amazing job.
Oh, you're
I
sweet.
think that it would be a blessing to have you as a caregiver.
I agree.
And every time I'm with you, you're just a bright light in this world. You really are. You're incredible, and I love you dearly. And thank you so much for being on this episode with us
for
and
having me.
sharing
It's-
your experiences.
It's been a joy. Thank you.
And I think you really helped a lot of people today.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Cindy. Thanks for watching.